I'm in my favorite place, New York City. What a game last night between the Browns and the Steelers. It was snowing, as we all saw. I'm sure Matthew Hamilton will blame me for the weather down there. That's okay. We had it all. Snow Angels. We had Jameis. We had Andrew Whitworth. We had Myles Garrett telling us what it is. Why are you laughing?
We had Andrew Whitworth.
Andrew Whitworth. I love Andrew Whitworth. Niners, Packers, Saleh, Brock Purdy, return of the George, Week 12. Who's in, who's out, who's saying crazy stuff. We have everything. We do all the work for you. So you can go about your easy Friday, grab a bagel, have a coffee, and hang out. We've got everything you need to know as you're setting your lineups, as you're making your picks on FanDuel Sportsbook, and as you're excited to take in a Sunday full of action. And for the first time ever, and I'm very excited about this, I get to welcome three-time All-Pro, Super Bowl champion, a guy who's always done it the right way. The best in the game says he does it the best, say he does it the best way. Could probably host this show better than me, Tyrann Mathieu, on the program, and PFF's Trevor Sikkema.
I mean, we spoke of the coin toss, but that's about it. You know, like I said, I got a lot of respect for him, a lot of respect for all the guys over there, and the edge rusher in the league. But I'm number one, and that's from edge defender one, edge one to defensive player of the year. I'm the guy. So that runs through me. There's no other person being defended as I am, or schemed or planned against like I am. So this goes to show, you can throw that out the window. I'm gonna find a way.
I'm that guy. It runs through me. How many of our best evers are Mahomes, are Brady's, are Luke Kuechly's, who's a friend on the show, the Gronks? How many said at the peak of their career or after any performance, it runs through me? Patrick Mahomes has won 2 Super Bowls. He's never stood there and said it runs through me. I love this. I love the honesty, the blatant. It does run through me. I am that man. I am the reigning DPOI, and it should be mine, especially after what I did. Fired up Myles. That bite fired me, and the whole internet up loved seeing that. I just like the honesty. People don't go for it. People don't go, there's a lot. And it's not that he's not being humble. Are you going to argue that with Myles Garrett? I guess you could say, oh, Trey Hendrickson has more sacks. But he said it right there. He's heard it all. Myles has heard. He goes, nobody's scheming against me like that. No, you're not scheming for Trey like you are for me, and I agree with him. This was an amazing AFC North Classic. He had the big hits, the chippiness, the theatrics. I don't care about the weather. Everybody does. It's certainly a part of it. To me, I was caring about Jameis Winston, who went viral for 90,000 things yesterday. Nick Chubb scoring big fourth-quarter touchdowns, helping the Browns snap Pittsburgh's 5-game win streak. Jameis has led 4-quarter comebacks to beat both the Ravens, took down the Steelers. Nobody wants to face Jameis. This is one I think Browns fans will get to hold on to. Let me talk to these Browns fans for a second. You needed this. It's been tough. We want to talk about soul-crushing seasons on seasons. We're talking about the Vikings sitting pretty. We're talking about Chicago. Boo-hoo. The Browns have had it worse than anybody. You celebrate all day. I better see smiles on every Browns fan's face today as you walk down the street, whether it's in Cleveland, West Coast, East Coast, anywhere in between, and you hold your head up high and you hold on to this. This is a classic. You have created and recorded a classic, and we'll remember that as such, for not just for this year, for years to come. It's a nice... They needed it. It's important. And I don't know if Myles Garrett got his apology from TJ Watt. Luke Kuechly, a great, said that it was not warranted, but he definitely made a statement. If you just want to get into the miles of it, unblockable, 3 sacks, 3 quarterback hits, 3 tackles for loss, a forced fumble to keep the Steelers offense grounded for most of the game, while the Browns offense able to shut TJ out. Nothing more badass than when a player can talk his, you know what, and then back it up, and there he is. It's me. I'm the one. It runs through me. I love it. Iconic. Myles has 10 sacks on the year. Only Trey Hendrickson has more. Sacks aren't the only thing that matters. I want to remind everybody, but those 10 means he has hit double digits for the 7th straight year. That's more important to me than what he has this year. Just the consistency. Hard to do. It ties him for the 3rd longest streak in NFL history. I'm talking the LTs, the Bruce Smith, DeMarcus Ware, the crazy mulleted Jared Allens who are roping up cabs somewhere in Montana. That's the world it puts him in. Every player on this list is a Hall of Famer other than Yellowstone himself, Jared Allen. He's a semifinalist this year, by the way. He should get in super soon. Tyrann Mathieu, hopefully, gets into the Hall of Fame. I would vote for him. So would Andy Reid. We'll dig into that. Steelers side of things. Let's get into it. There's a lot of talk about them playing down to competition. There's a lot of like, what are they missing? Do they not have the right piece? I'm not going to overreact, okay? We talked about it yesterday. Division games are weird. Snow games are weird. Short week games are weird. I was a little concerned with the offense going straight quarters, 7 of them, 7 straight without a touchdown. And they found it a little bit in the fourth quarter. Justin Fields, who sort of sparked things with a big run. Steelers got a few touchdown drives late. It wasn't enough, but we'll see if what we saw in the fourth quarter can sort of carry on some momentum, some of that. They got the Bengals next week. I want to go to that game. That is an incredible game. Feast your eyes on that. And the Steelers, they're still in first place in the North. Look at how that loss has made the Ravens the favorites somehow that quick. Man, you're on top one day on FT Sportsbook and minus 165 to plus 135. Woo! Pittsburgh drops. Yeah, Pittsburgh drops. Don't love that. Okay. I hope that game is a sign of things to come. And by the way, I hope the rest of Week 12 lives up to that game because the Niners-Packers, it's already given us some drama, everybody. Brock Purdy, he leaves practice with a shoulder injury. He didn't return. And then they're like, we're not letting him talk. Weird. They're muzzling him. I don't know about that. The Packers were 1.5-point favorites yesterday in FanDuel Sportsbook. That line has moved to 3 in favor of Green Bay. So if Brock can't go, who's throwing the ball? Not Christian McCaffrey. No. It's Brandon Allen, whose last start came in 2021 with the Bengals. That Eagles-Rams Sunday night game, by the way, that's a fun one if you want to have fun at FanDuel Sportsbook. 2.5-point faves. Philly is Darius Slay, Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, all guys. I don't know if that Eagles secondary can handle that. It's an interesting question. Rams need this one. A win keeps them alive with a 29% shot to make the playoffs. A loss drops their chances to 11%. And then Monday night are the Harbaugh Bowl, John's Ravens. 3-point faves in LA against Jim's Chargers. That Steelers loss, I don't know. Baltimore can now pull within a half game of the AFC North lead if they win this one. All right, we're going to get into some other matchups, and we bring in the guy who crunches all of the numbers. It's number crunchers, hunchers, hunch time. Let's do this. Oh, God. I'm nervous.
Yeah, we got some good props for you. We can.
Good to see you, buddy.
It's good to see you too.
All right, let's do
All right,
this.
we're going to start with Bears-Vikings. Caleb Williams coming off a strong performance against the Packers. His line is 201.5 passing yards for this weekend. So what's your hunch? Does he go over that, or is he held under that?
You know I'm going to say over. By the way, Rob Gronkowski, I tweeted it. I said, I think this is the week that he's going to kick my ass, and he went 3 for 3 yesterday.
What a night.
Do we know what the score is now?
It is 16-14, I believe. You're still in the lead, but he is right there.
That 28-3 MFer is going to come and get me. I'm so annoyed by that. He's going to come get me down the stretch. Weather. Thursday nights are wild. I'm going to say, back to the task at hand. Okay, so Caleb, 201.5. I'm going to say over. I'm going to trust Thomas Brown having another week to sort of insert what he wants to do. I don't know. Give the ball to Rome. Their leading receiver, I do believe, right?
Yeah, he is.
Love that. I think he goes over against the Vikings.
All right.
Oof. I feel okay about that one.
I like that one. I liked what we saw from him last week. All right, we're going to go now to that big Cardinals-Seahawks game. James Conner's line for rushing yards is 68.5. So what's your hunch there? Over
When
or
are we
under?
going to do an underreaction to James Conner? Do you think it comes this week after this game?
It very well could.
We've been... It's literally why we should do it, because we keep kind of skipping around it.
Yeah.
Just to story, we've had so many people come on our show and talk about it. I'm sure like Tyrann Mathieu might have a little something to say about it as well. So we're going to talk to him just like what that guy man is made of and what he's done. I'm going to say, I'm just babbling because I don't know what I want to say here. I don't know about this one.
Filibustering.
68.5. K goes to Washington. They're in first place. He's the biggest part. I'm going to smash the over, and then we're going to do an underreaction to how great he is. And by the way, the Seahawks' run defense, not great.
Yeah, they've had their struggles this year, so I like it. That Cardinals run game has been awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
What else?
We're going to finish with that Sunday night matchup, Eagles-Rams that you just talked about.
Is so funny. Go on.
Saquon's line for rushing yards is all the way up there at 96.5. So what's your hunch? Does he hit that?
I'm going to say, does he hit that? No. Saquon does not hit that because he's gone over 100 in 4 of his last 5 games. He might be fresh off the bye, but he can't. He's got to have one letdown here. And I'm going to say, I'm totally full of it. I want to go
against Saquon?
No, I want to go against the notes I have.
Go for it. Do it.
I know.
Pick against him.
If it wasn't the Sunday night game, how's that Rams?
If it wasn't.
Rams defense isn't bad.
No, they've been
Are they a top 15?
better lately. They're around middle of the pack. They've been trending in the right direction. They've gone better kind of week
This
after
was a
week.
dumb one to try to rage against the machine against, because speaking of machine, we have AI in the show today.
We do.
Yeah,
Your
you
favorite.
know I've completely given up on everything if we've allowed our artificial intelligence to be part of the rundown. Anyway, there you go. Yeah, I'll go over. Fine, I'll go over just because he does it all the time. He's only not done it once in the past 5 games.
Yeah, you can't pick against him with the way he's rolling right now. And Jordan Mailata back out there, the offensive line better than ever.
Are you ready to take this over and teach me something?
Let's do it.
On a Friday? Let's do it. It's time from Punch Time. It's the Hammer time. Hammer! The Commanders. I said K goes to Washington. Here we go. They've dropped back-to-back games. I don't want to see this. I, as you know, blame Kevin Durant's hat.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant stopped wearing the magic hat. The picks were off. I'm surprised the Cowboys aren't winning and blowing people out. Okay, so we need to get these Commanders back on track. The league's better. The NFC East is way better when they are. They have the Cowboys on Sunday. Is there something that you're noticing that people who aren't sick pups like me have not?
There is, and I think there's a huge matchup advantage in this one for the Commanders. And it has to do with the way that Cliff Kingsbury's using those running backs. This offense has been at its best when both Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler have been on the field at the same time.
Let's look.
He's been using them together in a way that you don't really see in this era of NFL football. And Washington is averaging almost 9 yards per play in those packages, which is ridiculous. Let's go to the tape, and I'll show you why I'm smashing the over when it comes to all of Washington's rushing props this weekend. So here you go. You're going to see Austin Eckler and Robinson in the backfield together here, and it just gives you so much to have to look at as a defense. It's an inside zone read. They're leaving Josh Sweat, the end man, at the line of scrimmage unblocked. Austin Eckler is going to be out in front as the lead blocker if Jaden does pull it, but Sweat sits there, so he's going to give this ball to Brian Robinson. And you'll see there's 3 defenders with their eyes on Jaden.
Yeah.
Now all Brian Robinson has to do is make Zach Bond miss. I love the way he presses this to the outside, and then he's going to bend it back inside, and it takes a lot more than arm tackles to get him down. He is such a tough physical runner, just running through this Eagles defense, gets them down to the goal line. He would score on the next play. So then what happens if you don't pay that much attention to Jaden, right? And you pay more attention to the running backs? Here it is with Eckler, and even Jeremy McNichols gets into the equation at times.
Poison.
So here they're going to pull both the guard and tackle. That gets the linebackers all flowing to the left. Jaden's going to read again, the end man on the line of scrimmage, Chase on. And you'll see here, even though Chase on doesn't close super aggressively, he still says, hey, I can beat him in a foot race to the outside. He's going to pull the ball this time. And watch what happens. Everybody closes on McNichols thinking he has the ball, especially because of those pullers. And now Jaden has the ball at the edge with space, with blockers in front of him. And he's off to the races. We haven't seen as much of this lately since that rib injury from him, which actually happened on this play. But he's still so dangerous with his legs. I wonder if we see a little more of it this weekend. And then even in a little different look here, Robinson back there in pistol, Eckler off to the side. Look at the eyes in the backfield. They're anticipating zone read. Everybody's waiting to see what Jaden decides to do here. Eckler's going to slip out into the flat.
Where's Eckler? Oh, yeah. Whoop,
Nobody accounts
he
for
is.
him because all eyes are on Jaden again. So no matter what you do, they can beat you in so many different ways. It's so hard to defend. And the Cowboys especially have had a really hard time dealing with read option-based schemes this year because teams have been able to take Michael Parsons out of the equation by making him that read key. And so I put a little something together, and that's why I'm going all in on Commanders props for this Sunday. Give me Austin Eckler over 48.5 rushing and receiving yards.
Okay.
Brian Robinson Jr. 60-plus rushing yards.
Okay.
Brian Robinson Jr. anytime touchdown. And I like the Commanders minus 6.5 in the alt spread.
So you think Eckler's going to have a day?
I do.
I mean, the Cowboys.
That's another underreaction we have to talk
run
about.
defense. Not great. Is anybody worse than them? They're 31st. Who's worse than them? I don't know either. I don't know, but they're not great. We're not saying Austin Eckler's the same kind of runner as Joe Mixon, but he had a lot of success running all over them. This is a big one. This is like I hate the must-win trite sort of hackneyed thing, but like this is a must-win for them, I think. And if they can get it, it bumps them to a 94% chance of making the playoffs.
That's huge.
You want that. They got to get this one to restore some excitement, at least for me, for my selfish needs. So you think Eckler's going to have?
I do.
It's going to be a
Him
big
and
run
Robinson.
game.
Yeah, they're both going to go off.
Okay, we got
And
2
Winston
underreactions out of that. Well done. Thanks for
There you
making me smarter. Good stuff. We will be back after this. Hamilton, excellent. He does it all on this freaking show. Love him. Love seeing him. And we'll be back. I can't believe we have Tyrann Mathieu.
I know.
How did we get him? I'm so excited. I don't even know what to ask him. What should I ask him, guys? I want to ask him about, we have to do the turkeys. He's done that turkey thing for a long time.
I'm going to grab my computer in here, too, because I have stuff to pull on you. Yeah.
You have to be in here with me?
Yeah. For,
No, you have to have your, with Matthew's on? Okay. Checked their bag.
Yeah, the Eckler stuff. Remember how everybody got on his case when he said that stuff about, you know, having the full workload on him? I don't want to misquote him, but, like, nobody's talked about the fact that, like, he was just being honest about the way that he plays and, like, what's better for him. And we're seeing it in Washington with him having Brian Robinson.
That was an emotional Chargers-y thing, I think.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Yeah. But
He said that to us.
yeah, but he's having an incredible year right now, having a Brian Robinson there.
I don't want to see
with him.
whatever this is.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what's
Don't
going on.
look.
That's right. We've allowed our AI, which I want no part of. See what's going on in this world. These, like, Kim Kardashian's got a literal robot.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know who said this. Maybe it was Bert Kreischer or somebody. I'm dying at the right time. Like, I'm exiting stage left at the right time. Because can you imagine this is not a world for me. Take me back.
He's gonna go completely off the grid in a couple of years. I know that.
Would it surprise you in the frickin' least?
Not at all.
Yeah. I bid everyone adieu.
Which hand are we doing the thumbs down? Are you gonna do it with
So
those
Gladiator's
bracelets?
coming out. We're gonna do these bracelets. These are cool. These are gladiator-y bracelets.
Yeah.
You make fun of everything.
I wasn't making fun. I just yeah.
She does it so meanly, that Commodus. I can't believe you don't really think he's like a great villain.
He is.
He doesn't stick
I know
out to you.
You are putting words in my mouth.
No.
Right now.
Well, you weren't that excited about the Gladiator 2. Okay, let's do this. So what's happening here? Got daily fantasy plays for you.
And then we're doing some Gladiator.
Did any of our DFS picks from last week hit? We had a not great week with the DFS. We got DFS.
We had two
this.
good ones. I'm trying to remember. 2 of them were really good. Yeah, Richard plays them every week in his daily lineup and crushes.
Really?
Yeah. This and the K-Makers.
And then you just text Hamilton. All right, we've got you covered. You want to win your daily fantasy lineup over on FanDuel? Of course you do. It's the best place to play, and here's what you need to do. You need to put Javonte Williams into your lineup. We looked at values. He's got the Raiders. As far as salary is concerned, he's bottom of the barrel. He's 25th, even though he just had a score and 87 yards against Atlanta. At receiver, gimme Jackson Smith and Jigba. You got a big one with Seattle against the #1 team in the NFC West, the Cardinals. But he has caught fire and nobody's paying attention, which is the baked-in value. He's averaging 120 yards a game over the last 3 weeks, but still somehow well outside the top 10 in salary. He's 15th over on FanDuel. And at tight end, Sam Laporta. He's back. Oh, I don't think we're talking about this enough. He's got the shoulder thing gone. Hopefully he's back to 100%. He's a young player. 9th, if you're looking at salaries for DFS. That doesn't make any sense to me. Are we sleeping at the wheel? They're algorithm overlords over at the fantasy part of FanDuel. The Colts have been top 10 most generous to the tight end spot this year. I love this pick, and calling tight ends is the easiest thing to call when exploiting matchups in fantasy. Oh, Matthew, not this Matthew. Tyrann Mathieu's logging in. Now we have you. So when you say that we have Matthew, are we still doing this, or should we? Oh, great. Love that. Okay, so here's the deal. Gladiator 2 comes out. I'm excited. Not as excited. I mean, Times Square is throwing up wicked. It is coming out. There's green stuff coming out of everybody's pores here in Times Square, but I'm excited to see Gladiator, a Denzel performance. It was a great movie way back when. I remember crying as like a 10-year-old watching it. To celebrate the release, we're going to play a little game inspired. It's a very simple one by the great Commodus, a true hero of mine. Someone I aspire to be like from the original Gladiator. So it's time for Thumb War. Remember that? Remember Made You Look? That's a whole other thing we gotta talk about. The game Made You Look, such a simple time. If I go horizontal, I'm gonna go horizontal. You're gonna throw topics at me I have not seen.
Yeah.
As we wait for Tyrann Mathieu.
There are going to be some random ones in here, so get
ahead.
ready. All right, snow football games.
Like, okay, watching them on television or like going to one? Down on going to one, I would absolutely never. If I was seeing the forecast, even if I had tickets, I'd call my favorite person or somebody I know who loves and deserves it, and I would not go. I will go up. Better than a rain game, though. Better than a rain game. I don't love going to a rain game, but I'll give it a thumbs up because it gives a little difference. Sometimes I think some things can get a little boring. A little boring so far this early season. So I'm going to go up.
Get the music going again. Driverless cars. There we go. All right.
Welcome.
There we go.
Welcome.
Driverless cars.
Are you guys insane? Are you guys insane? I would be better to live in the Gladiator times. I am more suited for the time of the Gladiator, okay? I do not need anything. I don't know how to install apps on my phone. I can barely plug my phone in. Like, there's a new charger. Everyone's saying you have the old charger. I don't know what's going on. I don't want anything moving and revolving around me. Now they're like allowing it in Los Angeles. I'll probably never get in a car like that. And if I see one, I'm suspicious. And if I see you in one, I question your judgment. It's an ick. It's a red flag.
And I would never get into a car with you, so there we go. All right.
Are you in on those cars? Be honest.
No.
Yeah. Sketchy.
No.
Sketchy.
I'm out. All right. Asking athletes to sign hamburger buns a la Davante Adams.
Thumbs up on Davante obliging. I'm gonna go. You're trying to get me to say mean thing. No, because anything you got. What if you didn't have anything else? What if he didn't have anything else and he just had the hamburger bun that he somehow brought in from the tailgate? It was in his pocket if he needed some sustenance, and he said, "I don't have anything to sign." What if he went and spent $18 on that burger bun in the stadium, knowing he could get Davante Adams to sign it? So I'm going to say thumbs up on that. I bet you Tyrann Mathieu has signed many things like that, and it makes everybody's day. And I guess it's a great story. Now, if you ate the thing after he touched it, and this is after a game. If you ate that burger, you are a dog. You are a dirty dog. You are a sicko. Okay, we'll be back after this. We've got more Commodus vibes coming up, but instead, after the break, we are joined by three-time All-Pro safety, Super Bowl champion, Tyrann Mathieu, finally has accepted the invitation for me to pump him up and tell him he's the greatest thing that's ever happened to the NFL. Okay, we'll be right back. Want to do more?
Want to keep it going? Yeah, let's do it. All right. Tins of popcorn as a Christmas gift.
Down. Anything like in the fruitcake holiday, like when you walk into the Ralph's or the grocery store, the Vons, what is it in New England? Like the Whole Foods, even.
Yeah.
Whatever you see right there, I'm out on. Like the poinsettia, what is that panettone bread, that dry-ass bread that everyone...
You're out on a panettone?
Yeah, whatever. Anything that's there, the fruit cakes that will long be here on Earth when the aliens and AI have taken over and we're all dead, the fruit cakes will still be intact. Anything like that, I'm out on.
Those tins of popcorn are scary, too. Like Kelly's sister, older sister, gets them, and all the kids, like, have their hands in them. And
I just don't think, I like a straight-up popcorn. I don't need, like, the peppermint candy cane flavored. I don't like mixing though we effed up that stuff at training camp, that M&M. We had M&M popcorn. That was last. Yeah, I'm not into the tins of pop. I don't know how they be, and I'm a Chicago girl. I would support Garrett's, sure. I don't know, I'm not into it. No, I'm not into it, I'm out on it.
Secret Santa.
Actually, I had a better take. At one point I had a better take, I can't remember. Go ahead.
All right.
Please pod Tyrann down so he doesn't listen to this, because this is like absolute drivel. God, I'm embarrassed.
Gronk beating Shaq in boxing.
Do I think Gronk could beat Shaq? Oh, God, I don't know how to size this up. Somebody get me Chris Mannix on the phone. Would Gronk...
I mean, Gronk is a large human. Shaq
He's a lot younger?
He does have that advantage, yeah.
And then I'm going to go with Gronk. Gronk can beat Shaq. Send this to Lefko and see what he says. He's better at analyzing this stuff. If we're going by it's a young man's game, wasn't Shaq the one that said it's a young man's game? I think he did on that on the big podcast.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it's a Gronk world, and I don't know if he's got knockout power though. He's in that gym. His dad sells gym equipment.
Does, yeah.
Okay,
I'm getting
super
kicked
flustered.
out.
We're going.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's do this. We got this. How much time do we have? I don't have a timer on the thing. Awesome. Perfect. Thank you. Hammy's out. Yeah, I don't know. Who do you think wins?
It's hard. Yeah.
There's a lot of hammy heavy lifting right now. I appreciate you so much.
I can't pick against Gronk.
I can't pick against Shaq. How do you pick against Shaq?
That's true. But Gronk's our guy. I'm not going against Gronk.
Would you want to punch Shaq?
No, yeah, that's true. That's the hardest part of it. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like Gronk's, I don't know. Shaq's a lot bigger.
Shaq is a lot bigger.
Welcome back to Up and Adams. It is an honor. It is a pleasure. I'm so excited to welcome my next guest. He is a 3-time All-Pro safety. He's a member of the All-2010s Decade Team, and he is a Super Bowl champion whose effects in cities and teams and people in locker rooms has always felt long after he's there. Tyrann Mathieu, how are you?
I'm doing great. Can't complain.
Good. It's good to see you. You look all set up. I love the Saints gear behind you. I want to, I don't know if you saw last night's game, but we had our first real snow game of the season last night, and all I could think about was Week 15, 2019, Broncos-Chiefs, monster game. You love the snow, sack, couple big pass breakups, an interception that got called back. Talk me through this. What do you remember about that game?
I mean, I just remember it being, one of my first, snow games. And, obviously at that time, we were like in it, we knew we had a chance to be a really good team. And, I think playing in the snow, you don't really feel it when you're winning, so I think that's like the most important thing is to win the game and keep a good lead because usually the team that's losing, they feel the weather, a little bit more.
The team that was losing was not Jameis Winston's team, okay? He's in the snow, loving it like you did back in that game. Yeah. He does this bright lights against the Steelers. I know you played against him last week, but I want to talk more about how you were his teammate for 2 seasons. Let's listen to what Jameis Winston said post-game. Let's listen to this.
That fourth quarter, it really was like it was a whole paradigm shift. Like we were playing so well offensively, and then bang, bang, back-to-back drives with turnovers, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like this is really an NFL's film moment. The snow starts pouring down. It starts getting like I felt like my feet started getting heavy because I'm squishing through the snow, and man, it was so good, and it was so great to end up getting that win.
Tyrann, what do you think?
I mean, that's J-Bo for you. Man, he's one of those people, man. I think he's genuinely grateful to be, where he is in life, where he's come from, and you don't really see too many guys like that really exude that honesty, that transparency. You know what I mean? I think a lot of guys who were, number 1 draft picks, they got to fit into this mold of, player and person, and I think J-Bo just kind of, he's like that outlier, man. But he's great for the locker room. He's a great leader. He's a hard worker. And I think, when you put him in the locker room, it's easy for him to kind of bridge the gap, with a lot of different players, man. And so he's special in his own way.
Is he the most unique player you've ever played with or against?
I don't know. He's unique in his own way. I feel spoiled. I think, man, I've shared the locker room with Larry Fitzgerald and J.J. Watt and Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? So I've legit shared the locker room with some of the greatest players, ever, and especially in my generation. And so I always feel, grateful, for that.
I want to go back to a couple weeks ago. I like seeing you talk through plays. So before you beat the Browns, it was fourth quarter against the Falcons, okay? You have a 3-point lead. Kirk Cousins, he is driving to tie or to win the game. You get this huge interception. That play was so big. Saves the game, gives the season life. Yeah. How much can one play like that change things?
I mean, it was a big time play. I think in the game, I think anytime you make those type of plays in those type of games, in those rivalry games, especially in that moment, I think that's the type of plays, you dream of as a defender, plays that people would remember 5-10 years from now. And so the Falcons have been, rather pretty good to me, though. I think like the last 4 or 5 times I've played them, I've kind of came away with an intercept or something. They've given me something. You know what I mean? So I'm happy about that.
I mean, it's holiday time. They're gifting you stuff early here, and that ends a 7-game lose streak. I can't imagine what that does to the team. The team's still alive because you've won 2 heading into the bye week. How much belief is there in the facility, and how much do you have to do with that belief?
I mean, I think collectively, I think we all, feel that, like we played a part, in that 7-game losing streak. I think we played a part in getting our coach fired. I just don't think we played, to our standard, week in and week out. And I think these last couple of weeks, we've tried to play to that standard, and I think we've been able to win those games. So, it's just a matter of us continuing to show up and really, hold ourselves accountable first and then hold others accountable and, just continue to push forward. I think the same way you lose 7 games in a row, you can win 7 in a row too, so, and, but it takes commitment. It takes hard work, sacrifice and dedication. And, but I do think we're in a good place right now. We're getting healthier and healthier, as a team. And I think too, like some of our best players are playing absolutely, amazing. And I think when your best players are playing football, well, I think Kamara is playing, outstanding. I think him, he's really the MVP, of our team right now. And, he's leading the way for us, and he's doing all this with like broken hand and like I don't even think he's healthy, and so I think that says a lot about him and who he is as a person. I tell Taysom all the time because people say it to me, right? Like, man, you're the best football player I've ever played with. And I'm like, y'all never played with Taysom Hill, though. And
you've said this. I remember sitting. Yeah. I was there, and we did a whole thing with your coach and Cam and talking about Taysom lining up on defense and all of that. And you quote tweeted it and said, "You guys don't even understand. He's like the best player ever." But you're telling me you played with Larry Fitzgerald. You played with Patrick Mahomes. Taysom Hill might be the best.
Well, he does a lot, and I couldn't imagine, offensively, I've had the pleasure of playing 4 or 5 positions on defense. So I know how much it is that, you can have on your plate at one time. And I don't think a lot of people could process that and handle that mentally, week to week. I think Taysom is like one of those guys that can really handle that. Like he can understand, how to play slot receiver and, how to play H-back and, maybe he's like the backup quarterback in the red zone. And so, he has about 3 or 4 different game plans, every week that he has to know and he has to understand. And I think, along with like his athleticism, like that's a really good, talented player, whoever that player is, a guy that studies well and a guy that, put in work, in the weight room. Those guys are usually, hard to stop in general,
I mean, I trust you. You're saying Alvin Kamara is the MVP. This team looks great. How often I know you're not thinking about it right now because there's still a chance you guys can go and win. How often are you thinking about how your career goes? I don't want to bring up the deleted tweets, which I want to ask you about. But how do you see your career playing out? What do you see?
Oh man, to be honest, I've accomplished everything that like I've individually, set out to accomplish. And I think now, man, it's just like you play year to year. Um, you you hope you hope to continue to have great opportunities. And I think for me too, like coming back home, being able to be in a community, being able to play high level football and be productive on the field. That's always been a dream of mine to do. So, I'm not really looking too far, in the future. But obviously, like I do think about coaching, and I do think about the day like that I'll hang it up, and do I want to coach in the NFL? Do I want to coach in college? Like, what do I want to do? So I have those
Yeah.
conversations with myself, a lot.
And we'll see what I've got another way. Pro Bowl voting starts Monday, everybody. So as we're talking about Tyrann Mathieu and what he's doing to this team and for this team, they're in that community. Make sure you guys go over there and vote for another Pro Bowl for Tyrann Mathieu. You're talking about coaching, which is fine. You're a great leader. Everybody says it. Is there a world where you're dabbling in the GM game? When's the last time you texted Brett Veach?
Probably a couple months ago.
Okay.
I think I can get into it. I'm not saying that I'm not taking it off the table, obviously. But I would want my feet to be like, in sync with the players. I would want to be able to, motivate those guys and challenge those guys, from that perspective, because I did it, But I don't know, man. I don't know about going upstairs,
I don't hear often about
players.
players. I don't hear often about players texting GMs, former GMs, current GMs.
Yeah. Well, I've always been a football guy. I've always been a football dude, just inside and out. And I think over the years, man, you develop relationships with people that they know football and you know football, and just that ability, or that opportunity to have conversations with people that really understand football, I think that's priceless. So, it's a lot of those relationships, like that I've had, really since I've been in the league. And I think all those guys in their own right, they've all been kind of instrumental, and partly, motivation of, why I would want to coach.
You as a coach would be wild and so amazing, and I would be so here for it. But before you coach, you've got years left to play as long as you want to.
Yeah.
You've got, maybe other things not to accomplish, but you're taking it as it comes to you, which is, by the way, so rare. Players don't get to do that. The fact that you are going to get to call your shot, do what comes to you, it's all anybody wants in the NFL. I want to talk about your relationship with the Hall of Fame. Andy Reid said he'd vote for you for the Hall of Fame. You're saying, I've done everything I need to accomplish. What's your relationship with the Hall of Fame?
Oh, man. Obviously, I'm a huge fan. I think each and every year, you tune in, right? And you want to see who got in, because, we all feel a part of that success. I think when you make it to the NFL and you become, part of that brotherhood, obviously, man, like I said, I've played with guys that, like these are the conversations that they have, the Larry Fitzgeralds, the Patrick Petersons, the JJs, right? And, I feel like, even on a team with those guys, Mahomes and the different great players I've played with, I found a way to kind of, identify myself and carve out my role and, push us towards, success. And so, I do feel like I'm a part of that cloth. And who knows, hopefully one day, I get that knock, on the door.
I wonder who, was it Larry that's knocking? Is it Mahomes who's knocking? Is it Andy Reid who's knocking? Is it someone with the Saints who's knocking? I loved hearing Mahomes say that you're one of the best leaders he's ever been around. I loved reading this article as you took on the Chiefs not long ago about how the DBs, Spags' DBs, they're still walking out to practice 15 minutes early, something you started 6 freaking years ago. I think, and this is a claim, I think that the dynasty doesn't happen without you. I think you've had that much of an impact while you were there and a lasting impact on this organization. How does it feel to hear those things about the DBs and from those coaches?
I mean, it means a lot, in all honesty, it really means a lot. I've taken this thing serious, since I got drafted, in Arizona. And I think the way my career played out, it was kind of destiny that I went to the Chiefs because, I had won a little bit in Arizona. We won a little bit, in Houston, but we didn't quite get there. And I think I had the ambitions to get there. And, I never forget when, the Chiefs reached out and, I was able to kind of talk to Coach Reed and talk to Spags. And I knew what they wanted to do, right? And, it didn't start off like that. We didn't start off, as a great defense. It was kind of some bumps and bruises, in there. And, about midway through, 2019, it kind of started to click for us. And we became a really, really, really good defense. And I think really carried us, really to the big game, and so that was just one of those things, man, opportunity and destiny kind of meets. And so I was happy. I was grateful, to be able to accomplish, what we accomplished. And I'm still happy for them. I'm still happy, to see them, have that type of success and to do it, with a lot of guys that, they've been able to develop, these are their draft picks, right? And these guys are, growing into these special roles. And yeah, man, you just love to see it.
There's two ways, in my opinion, people are looking at the Chiefs right now. They're looking at how do we poke holes in them for the three-peat. They don't have this, they don't look this, whatever. And then everybody else, without even watching, without even looking at anything, will say, blind faith, they're going to figure it out. It's Mahomes, it's Reed, they've got this. You just played them, so you got the feel. You got what this team's made of. Now, things can change, but which bucket do you lie in, sort of? Are you in the they feel a little different in a they're missing something way, or are you in the they'll figure it out way? What were your impressions of them?
Well, I think they'll figure it out. They always do, right? And, I remember playing against Mahomes, that Monday night game, and I remember leaving the field or leaving that game saying, man, he's still the best player in the world, and it doesn't always look pretty, right? It doesn't always look pretty, right? It's not always, how we, wish for it to go or expect it to go. But he's one of those competitors, man. He's one of those athletes, at any given moment, he can cut it on, right? And he could put you in a coffin, quick. And I think the special thing about the Chiefs is that, you got to deal with really it's a three-headed monster, right? It's Mahomes, it's Coach Reed, and then it's Spags, right? If one of those guys have a bad day, the other one could pick them up. But, if all three of those guys are on fire, come on, man. I don't think a lot of teams, have what it takes to kind of overcome that, when all three of those guys are clicking, at a high level.
There's so much about culture right now in the air with the Jets and the coach changes, OC changes, all of that. With Andy Reid, what is the one quality, the word you would use to describe what's so great about Andy Reid? Why does he have the culture at the 10 out of 10 and the performance and the buy-in, the consistency? What's the word, the defining word?
I'll probably say intent. I think everything he does is that, it's with intent. And, I think the coaches, I think Spags, I think he's been able to, buy into that. I remember when I was in Kansas City, we would show up 15 minutes before practice, but, we never had a break during practice. We literally used to go from drill to drill, even when we weren't, working or running plays, we was off to the side, working on tackling, working on catching, right? Like working on hand placement, working on run fits. Like every day it was something to do. It was something to get better at. And, I think that's what, those are the type of things that I miss and appreciate, just being away from those guys, right? Like, you realize, you know, um, like how intentful like they was about each and every day. And, the proof is in the pudding. They've been able to
Yeah.
really, get the most out of, the last 6 seasons. Like I think that those people, have really been able to kind of benefit the most. And I think it really starts with that mindset and that idea, right? Like just capitalizing on each and every day, like not letting a minute pass, like not letting time waste. And I think that's a beautiful thing, man, especially when you're a part of that.
Yeah, it's about intent, intentionality. Got you a Super Bowl ring. You got them a Super Bowl ring. It was a beautiful relationship. Speaking of intent, you always have intent to do good, not just on the field, locker room, in the community. This is like, what is it, 9 years now? You are just dishing out turkeys. It's Tyrann's turkeys. You are giving Thanksgiving turkeys to, it's like hundreds and hundreds of families. Why is it so important to you to keep this going?
Man, I think it's really just who I am. It's who I've always been. Even as a kid, all the way through high school and college. I've always tried my best to give back. And really support those, that really need it the most. And like I always talk about Larry Fitzgerald and Pat P and all these guys. Man, I remember as a young pup, as a rookie, coming into the league and just kind of just being on those guys' side, right? Like just kind of riding with those guys, right? And these are the type of things, they were doing, and I realized quickly that, man, like I want to be a great football player, no doubt, right? Like that's why you hang and eat lunch with Pat P and Larry, right? Like, but beyond that, I want to be a good dude. Like I want to be solid, and I want the people I work for that work for me and the people I represent to respect me, right? Um, and those guys showed me that. Like they showed me, how to put on these type of events, how to give back and really ultimately how to balance the two, right? Like how to balance that giving back and being in the community and the balance your job. Like, because what I do is a job, right? And it requires a lot, of time and commitment. And so you just got to balance those things. And I think those guys early on, really showed me how to do it. Calais Campbell, Donnell Dockett, like I had a lot of good, solid OGs, Rashad Johnson, Gerard Powers. Like I could keep going on and on. Like all these dudes were outstanding football players, but they all represented their communities well, right? And I was thankful to be able to see that, as a youngster.
You've got lots going on, of course. You've got the Jesus Project. You're always supporting, pouring in, donating your time, your money, and helping in that community. That community that you seem to enjoy, maybe that's where you end your career, Tyrann.
Oh, for sure. I mean, listen, I tell you, I wouldn't want to play for any other team. I think going forward, I mean, the opportunity to be able to win, for my hometown. I mean, I think that kind of trumps, me going anywhere else, trying to win a ring. You know what I mean? Like I would rather do it, for my people, down here. And so, but yeah, who knows? Like I said, who knows, man? I might be around.
Who knows?
For a
but I
while.
love
Who
that
knows?
that's all I wanted to hear. I'm like glowing. I love that you would happily embrace that you're a made man doing the most with the turkeys, with everything. Vote Tyrann to the Pro Bowl, Mathieu to the Pro Bowl. Again, not that he needs it, but he deserves it, of course. We thank you so much. Happy holidays. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your beautiful family.
Thank you. Happy holidays, Kay. Appreciate it.
Great to see you. Are you kidding? Appreciate you. We'll be back after this. We've got K-Makers, all sorts of fun. But I could just talk to Tyrann Mathieu all for K-Tay. What a pinch me moment. I love it.
Unbelievable.
He's not going to go play for another team?
Wow.
Yes, let's do it. I can do K-makers on a, I guess we do need him, huh? I could do it on a selfie. I mean, we could not have jumped out of that. We got our, I mean, that was amazing. He's so amazing. It's great, it's great, it's great. Oh, I'm sleepwalking just like you. Ready? Time for K-makers. I hit you with my anytime touchdown scores for Week 12. Let's go with Christian McCaffrey. Is he still the emergency quarterback? Chance he's slinging the rock on this one. Get some extra points if you do daily fantasy. I don't know if it'll help with the touchdowns. It probably would. Brock's status is up in the air. I don't care who's at quarterback. This is the go-to. This is the guy. By the way, he's going to go 3 games without a touchdown score? Absolutely not. This season is on the line for this 5-5 Niner squad. Next up, Jalen Hurts. The odds seem very short for a guy that scored 9 touchdowns in his last 5 games. He's gonna push his way to a 1 more. And finally, how about Giants running back Mr. Tracy, Tyrann Tracy? He's been a bright spot this year, scoring twice in the last 3 games. Bucs run defense has had some struggles this year. Those are the guys I think will score touchdowns. McCaffrey, Hurts, and Tracy Jr. up against the Buccaneers. Let's welcome in PFF's lead draft analyst, co-host of the NFL Stock Exchange podcast. Always great to see Trevor Sikkema. You are a big Bucs fan. You're wearing the jacket. I love it. Did you like watching Snowball Jameis?
That game was so much fun. Anybody who's ever played sports knows that outdoor sports, I should say, anytime weather is a factor, you just get more focused. I don't know, you get like more determined. To me, that whole game was like a camaraderie game. The whole second half with every single run, every single catch, everything. You saw everybody going crazy on the sideline. You see everybody who's making a play going crazy and all that. So that was a blast. As somebody who is from just south of Tampa, Florida, I personally hate to play in it because it's the snow and, I'm a Florida boy, but I love watching it. It's fantastic. And I do think that that is some true football weather because you see those guys play so pumped up when the weather is such a factor like that. That was so much fun last night.
Super fun. And we had other quarterbacks having a good time, or not a good time, up in where I am here, skyline of New York. Daniel Jones gets released. I got to ask you, he issues this statement yesterday. This happened. I don't really want to talk about the Giants part of it. Who's picking him up? He goes through waivers. He's likely to clear because of his contract. So he'll be a free agent. Landing spots, I'm imagining he could help the Dolphins?
There's a lot of different. It just kind of depends what you think of Daniel Jones. Like, if you think he's purely a backup, I don't know, maybe a team like the Commanders to potentially back up the rest of the quarterback group that they have there. If any of the guys that they have there get hurt, like Niners obviously could be something too. If some team wants a starter, Dallas Cowboys would be objectively hilarious, right? If they were to pick him up and then immediately start him. I think they still play the Giants this season, so that would kind of be a funny one. The Raiders, he's probably the best QB that the Raiders would have if they wanted to pick him up, and so those are a couple options. I immediately,
you're saying what kind of a quarterback is he? According to PFF and the great Trevor Sikkema, what kind of quarterback is he?
I still think that Daniel Jones is more of a backup than he is a viable starter, but I think that he is somebody who you could have some package plays for because when you've used him, for lack of better terms, like a battering ram as a running quarterback, he has been successful and he's put some stress on defenses. So again, I think of you just talked to Tyrann. He just talked about how great Taysom Hill is. He's not quite as athletic as Taysom Hill, but he's sort of this player who you can give almost like wildcat quarterback snaps to, where he's actually also a threat to throw. We see that with Justin Fields with the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. So I don't know, maybe Denver Broncos, right? Sean Payton knows that role very, very well. Maybe they could bring him in and have him sort of be a package player with Bo Nix. I don't know if they're going to want to do that because Nix is a rookie and it's a veteran and you don't want to shake it up too much. But to me, that's what I would love to see. I would love to see him go to a role where he could be primarily used as a great rushing threat out of the backfield as a quarterback, like a wildcat quarterback, but then he's also a legitimate threat to throw the ball. So you got to keep it honest when you don't normally get that with wildcat quarterbacks. So that's sort of my short-term thoughts of how I would use Daniel Jones if I was targeting him.
Use him as that battering ram. It makes a lot of sense. You named a bunch of teams that could use him as a backup, some depth, as we know how important and premium that position is down the stretch here when the snow games keep stacking up. Now, the streaking Eagles, let's talk about them. They'll be in LA to play the Rams this weekend. Young, fun, great Eagle secondary. Will it be, how do they match up against Kupp and Puka?
This is going to be a blast. Obviously, this is some of the best young secondary work in the game with the Pittsburgh Steelers and Darius Slay, and how Quinyon Mitchell is playing now. Cooper DeJean's in the lineup. Him and Reed Blankenship wearing the exciting white t-shirts, which I thought was absolutely hilarious. They're going up against Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, who are rolling. I mean, obviously, when these two are very healthy, they're right on par with like a Jamar Chase and a T. Higgins is one of the best wide receiver duos in the NFL. So when I was looking into the numbers, though, a lot of people go, oh, yeah, their passing offense runs through them. Almost exclusively. We have a stat at PFF. It's called threat, basically wide receiver usage. How much are you getting targeted per route that you are running? So the higher percentage, obviously, it means that you were more involved in the offense when you were out there. These two guys, 88.5% of the passes goes to one of these two players when they are running a route. So this is truly the offense for the Los Angeles Rams. But what a great test for DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell in particular, who are going up against two of the savviest route runners in the NFL. This is going to be a lot of fun as well.
Hamilton's obsessed with what you're wearing. So you want to ask a Tampa question? Is that what you want to ask? What do you want? You're saying one. One was about Jameis. What would you want to ask about? Oh, can we do the AI? We don't have time for the AI. Not even one AI thing? I'm not hearing from our control room. He's saying, sure, we can do the first one. Okay, let's do it. Let's do it. I don't have it queued up. We want to roll out a game with you, Trevor. These are so fun.
Okay.
We've got Bears-Vikings, right?
Okay.
We asked, and by we, not me, because I wouldn't even know how to ask AI if I wanted to. We asked AI to create an image of the first scoring play, okay? The options are field goal, touchdown, or safety for either the Vikings or the Bears. What is your pick for the first scoring play?
Kevin O'Connell's been great so far, I feel like, to start games. So I'm going to go touchdown for the Vikings. Sorry, Bears fans, but that would be my guess.
Touchdown for the Vikings. Okay, let's see how AI decides to picture it. We kind of have to interpret it. I believe that's literally how AI interprets. So it looks like the Bears have a touchdown. Sorry, plus 290.
It looks like it's a bear, but he's wearing almost like a Viking coat. I don't know. I feel like I can almost like half count this one as a win. Are the Bears wearing a bear coat? I feel like that might be sacrilegious, but you're right. It is. It feels like I did get this one wrong. You're right. It looks like the Bears are scoring. So Caleb Williams is going to score the first touchdown. He's going to, continue to play well after a really good game last week. No, you stick to your guns.
I want you to beat the machine. Man versus machine. That's what I love. Loved your jacket, Trevor Sikkema.
I think that AI was being a little bit cheap here. I'm not going to lie.
You're the best. Go to PFF, everybody. Thank you, Trev.